I have good news and I have more good news. My first good news is I've decided that there are so few people today wearing headphones that I will not inflict you with my interpretation of the Italian language, which is a mix of an American and Tuscan accents, Tuscany, Florence being where I picked it up for the most part. The other good news, I'm going to try and be very brief today and speak to you about not so much the relationship issues that people speak so highly about when they talk about ADR mediation and how it helps people save deals and resolve disputes, but oddly enough, some of the rights issues and in fact some of the perceptions of rights that people have when they get involved in a dispute, which is something that, I know there are many experienced lawyers here, that is something that's very often very difficult to quantify. So we're going to talk about, my company is General Electric. We are a company that is obsessed with quantification, finance, and statistics. And so there's some interesting data that I've been able to pull together from a course that we teach on disputes, of all things. As Giuseppe said, my name is Michael McElrath. I'm a senior lawyer for the GE Energy group of companies. General Electric is one of the largest companies in the world. Actually, by some definitions, we are the largest company in the world. And the GE Energy division, of which I'm the litigation lawyer, the dispute lawyer for the European companies that are headquartered here, has an annual turnover of about $20 billion a year. I'm also, I wear another hat as the senior lawyer for the oil and gas division within the energy division, which is about a $4 billion a year business and growing very much, and is headquartered at a company called Nuovo Pignone in Florence. And we have long believed, and I've spoken, I think, here in Bologna and in other places about alternative dispute resolution, why the company believes in it, how we track the savings that we get from early dispute resolution, the tens of millions of dollars that GE as a whole saves each year, the many millions of dollars that I attribute to early dispute resolution through the use of different tools, including the use of alternative dispute resolution mediation in the oil and gas and GE Energy group. But I'd like to speak about a different tool today that we've had and we've implemented over the years. It's a little known secret of our company that we actually train people to negotiate when they're in disputes. And part of the training, which I'm not going to speak about today, is focused on the relationship aspects, looking for and finding the hidden value, the interests that when you get into a dispute with someone that you've been working with in the past, and that may be a large or small, but equally sophisticated and internationally present company like yours and have other interests, that there may be assets in the sense of value things, projects that you can do in the future, ways of working together, discounts, ways of resolving disputes that have nothing to do with the rights of the parties. They have to do with what can you do? I said this yesterday in the negotiation in Paris when the other side, I told them, you're the general counsel of a large French company. He said, we want you to give us something to pay our lost profits on this project. He said, we didn't sell to you, first of all, so legally I owe you nothing. Second, the people that we did sell to you had contracts that excluded lost profits. So we're not giving you anything legally, but we are willing to talk to you. If you're unhappy as a potential customer, sure, we'll make concessions, we'll talk to you. But, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? You're going to have to give me something which may be in the way of new projects, future work. And you can, that didn't provoke a bad conversation. It provoked a very productive and interesting conversation. But again, I want to dispense for a second with the relationship aspects and talk about rights and perceptions of rights, particularly in the international context, where it is often very difficult. You've got different cultures, different laws, different legal systems, different ways of perceiving justice and the way justice works. And so people tend to quantify things often, or have difficulty quantifying. We have a course at Nuovo Pignone for the members of the GE Energy and other GE businesses that are interested in taking it. And it is a complex dispute. It's a full-day simulation. It starts off with an explosion of a compressor in a location outside of Italy. And the customer is a consortium of companies. They're an international consortium with an English company and an Italian company bidding together. We are an Italian company owned by an American parent with many different interests and conflicting interests within the company. And we start off this negotiation, however, with everybody on the same side. We all start out negotiating at the beginning of the day on the side of the customer. So the perception of the dispute that begins to unfold is the perception of we're going to go to Novo Pignone and ask Novo Pignone to pay for damages. The lawyer for the customer consortium has already sent a letter to Novo Pignone asking for $65 million. $65 million covers various types of damages, including the hard direct losses, the failure of the compressor called. Nobody was injured. This is an equipment failure. The loss of the investment that was made in the project. And the customer says, and because of this, I've lost my relationship with my customer, a big oil and gas company who's not going to buy from me anymore, and that's a lot more lost profits. I want you to pay that too. Novo Pignone has a contract that excludes that type of losses under Italian law, but the international consortium says we think that this rises to the case of gross negligence, and therefore the limitation on your liability does not apply. That's the way the day starts out. Now, we start again, everybody on the same side, and usually the people who are taking this class, I mean, we had about 30 this last session. The data here is from the last session. There are 30 people. 28 people. 26 were engineers who operate in the day-to-day business of the company. All of them have international experience managing projects or designing, implementing fairly sophisticated equipment sales and implementing them in various countries around the world. Now, we start off again with their initial, they say, your lawyers are, they've seen the letter from their lawyer. Lawyer asked for $65 million. We say, but you're going into a face-to-face negotiation. What's your real goal going to be? Where are you going to open with your first offer? And the average that we have there is, well, I open at 60, and we're around about half. They say, my goal is going to be half that. I recover half that amount from Novo Pignone, I'll be happy. They then get a letter from the other side, from Novo Pignone, which systematically rebuts and presents a pretty convincing case from Novo Pignone's defense point of view. We're all in possession of the same information. We have groups of 4 to 5 people. We then take 2 or 3 people from the customer consortium, and we move them to become the representatives of Novo Pignone in the dispute negotiations. And this is where this data becomes very interesting. And you can see why mediation can be an effective tool. You can see the claimant here, the customer, is estimating its own losses. Now, they've now had a response from Novo Pignone, and they realize that maybe some of their losses were inflated, maybe some of their loss of profits, it was unrealistic for them to really think that they could recover this amount. So they've here on the left, and these are different groups of people. This by itself is interesting. Again, these are all engineers, same company, same professional background, a lot of experience on the same types of projects. And look how these different groups have estimated their own real losses based on the information that's available to them. Again, they have the contract, they have the claim statement, they have a lot of the backup support. They're very good at looking at this type of information. One group is estimated about €1 million of losses, another about 7 million, and what they're really out. You know. Next, the chart here is, you can see, what is the respondent, Novo Pignone, estimating? The third category here is the move over to the third group, the claimant's internal financial commitment. So these are the same groups here of people on the claimant and the claimant side. Same people. Where it's blue, it's the same blue. The respondents are actually different people. In this case, we're dealing with the same people in group 1 of data and the same people in group 2 of data. And what the same people are saying here is, okay, my losses may have been 7, but I'll settle for 6. I mean, this is reasonable when you look at this. Or the group, this sort of beige group here, pinkish group, they said 3.5 were my actual losses. I want 3 million from Novo Pignone.